Welcome to Birdseeds. So we kind of covered this on the last couple episodes, and I'm going to go into some kind of fun details here. But I had a really nice trip, and I want to talk about it. So I spent, I don't know, out of the last 28 days or so, or total 28 days, I should say, I spent 17 of those days out of town, which is quite unlike me. I mean, it was awesome, well needed, well deserved, all the above. We spent a week down at my beach house with some friends of ours and got away and just had a really nice time down in Hatteras. And then we were back for about a week, maybe 10 days or so. And then my wife and I went to Red Rocks, as I mentioned in one of those last episodes, which was, bucket list, super excited about that. We stopped in Georgia on the way, which if anybody knows anything about geography, Georgia's not on the way to Red Rocks, Colorado from Maryland. But my in-laws live down in Georgia, in Evans, Georgia, just outside of Augusta. So we drove about 10 hours with the kids down to Evans. I had my daughter's birthday down there. We did 4th of July down there. Like all that was really super cool. And then from there, we spent a couple days hanging out, doing some stuff. My wife and I drove 2.5 hours to Atlanta, and we caught a flight out to Denver. And we stayed in Denver for 5 days. We did 3 nights at Red Rocks, seeing our favorite band. Awesome. I mean, I'm going to get into those details, but man, what an experience. So we spent the 5 days down there doing that. And then we flew back to Atlanta, drove the 2.5 hours back to Evans, spent another day and a half or so hanging out with the in-laws and doing that fun stuff. And then we drove our 10 hours back to Maryland. And so I'm trying to get back in the swing of the first full week here and, back into work and life and all that, and trying to get my routines back together. So worth it. What a trip. Absolutely what a trip. And something I want to quickly just say about Red Rocks, and it's kind of what I've been saying here. There are no words or images or recordings that will do that place justice. It's surreal. There's something about it. There's a feeling as you're pulling up, as you get in there. There's a feeling about it that's just like, this place is special. This place is really something different. I actually want to do some deep dive on the history of it, because I feel like there's got to be some really cool things that have happened there. And they had some stuff up, but I want to do a deeper dive than what they talk about. But man, it's awesome. And as an audiophile, as a sound guy, as a music lover, I've never heard better sound in my life. It's just the natural reverb coming off of the giant rock formations, just the quality of the sound system in general, quality of the people running sound. It's just this organic, natural tone like you've never heard before. It's just unreal. And the second night, so we saw the same band 3 nights in a row, and they play a different set every night for people that keep asking me about that. Play a different set. Certainly there's going to be a couple songs that they're going to, do over and over again because they're, some of the hits or whatever. But they mix up the set. There's actually a website you can go where they track the set list from night to night, and you can see if you put in there what shows you've attended, you can see which songs you've heard, which is really fun and kind of cool. And we finally heard what we call our chase song, a song called Color Show. That's off of Four Thieves Gone. That's just one of the songs we've always wanted to hear, and we've never heard it. They've played it kind of around dates that we've gone. Still somewhat rare song for them, and we finally heard that, so that was super awesome. Another amazing song and some of these songs I'm going to hit on later episodes, and I think that's something I'm going to throw into the podcast here, just doing some kind of deep dives on some existing songs that mean something to me. I think that'd be kind of fun to explore. But a song called In the Curve, which has meant a lot to me, and just the song that's hit me from day one. It's a B-side. And we saw it the first time we've ever seen them. We saw it when we were in Chicago seeing them last year, and they played it at Red Rocks. But it turns out they've only played that song 16 times live, and we saw it 3 of those 16. So that's really, really cool. And again, it's a different set list every night. They do deep dives, they do deep cuts, they do old traditionals, they do fun covers. It's just it's a blast. It's fun. But the second night we're there, a cloud rolled in the middle of the show. And, the elevation obviously up in Colorado is quite high. So we're high enough for clouds. Cloud rolls in. The cloud's got moisture in it. It's hard to describe. It was like vapor. Nothing was wet, but you could feel the moisture in it. And the way that the red lights were reflecting through it, these crazy prisms started showing up in the clouds. I mean, it was like they planned this thing to be there from day one, and that certainly isn't the plan. You can't, control weather. But it was just an experience. It was just like the coolest thing. And a good friend of mine who we met up with at the show, a gentleman by the name of Adam Hipp, who I'll certainly be having as a guest on the show here at some point down the road. Adam has said he's been to close to 100 shows at Red Rocks, and he's never seen that before. That was like the coolest thing he's seen. So if you go to my Facebook or my Instagram profiles, I did throw up a lot of videos and pictures and things like that. You can see this kind of phenomenon I'm talking about on there. Just such a cool experience and such a cool place. If you haven't been, you have to go. They're not paying me to say that. I wish they were, but they're not. So I want to do a deeper dive into one of their songs. And again, this is something I'm going to start mixing into my podcast here, is kind of just doing some deeper dive in some songs that have meant something to me. And one of the things about this band, the Avett Brothers, that one of the reasons we love them so much, let me say it that way, is their songwriting is impeccable. The topics they talk about, it's not your typical stuff. Even when they write a love song, it's not approached the original way, and so on and so forth. And if you haven't seen the documentary, May It Last, that's out there, you can get it on, I think, HBO right now, or one of those things, one of those streaming services. Highly recommend doing it. Judd Apatow put it out. It's very well done. You can see kind of into the magic of that band for sure. But there's a song that I want to focus on here that came out, it looks like it was released in 2009. You know, we got some pretty contentious election things happening around then. It's not really a political song by any means, and I like that they kind of stay out of politics. They'll dabble here and there into it and say their opinion, but they like you to sort of hear the song and interpret your own way. But this particular song is called Head Full of Doubt, Road Full of Promise. Again, Head Full of Doubt, Road Full of Promise. And that's going to dive into some of these lyrics here. Starts off, there's a darkness upon me that's flooded in light, and in the fine print, they'll tell me what's wrong and what's right. And it comes in black, and it comes in white, and I'm frightened by those who don't see it. Just awesome. When nothing is owed or deserved or expected, and your life doesn't change by the man that's elected. And just how powerful is that? When we get ourselves into these political, battles, and everybody's, at arms with each other and going again, fighting and infighting and all that stuff. Your life doesn't change by the man, and they've changed that lyric. That's the other thing I really like about them, is they update their lyrics. So now they say the one that's elected. So again, your life doesn't change by the one that's elected. It's just a great lyric. If you're loved by someone, you're never rejected. Decide what to be and go be it. And man, do I want to just hit on that one. Decide what to be and go be it. I think we need to all stop living in fear. And I think that's kind of what the song's about, is like people live in fear and they're not willing to take chances, and they're too worried about how what they do is going to be interpreted by somebody else. Decide what to be and go be it. Just do it. Just live your dreams, live your life, do what you want to do. I mean, obviously within reason, but do what you want to do. There was a dream, and one day I could see it. Like a bird in a cage, I broke in and demanded that somebody free it. And there was a kid with a head full of doubt. So I'll scream till I die, and the last of those bad thoughts are finally out. Right? So same thing, right? Dream, broke in, got, freed it, just decided what to be and go be it, and those bad thoughts are gone. Then it goes back to it, flooded in light, back to that first saying there. There was a dream, and it goes right back to there was a dream, and one day I could see it, and that lyric, I'll scream till I die, and the last of those bad thoughts are finally out. And I mean, those are basically the lyrics to the song here. And I encourage you, I wish the rules were a little bit different. I wish there was a way that I could play their song on this podcast and they could get some, I don't know how even that would work in royalty ways. It's a podcast, it's not a money-making podcast. It's not what it's about. I wish there was a way I could play it on here, and there's fair use that you can kind of argue for it, but it's just not worth the risk and the headache of dealing with. I would encourage you to look it up, in your Apple or your Spotify, wherever you're listening to this, wherever you listen to your music. They have video for it, go look at the video, but I would encourage you to go listen to the song. It truly is impactful, and it's really just about what I've been working on for myself, which is find my dream and do it. And don't let my fear, don't let my concern of what other people think, the fear of failure, all that kind of stuff, stop me from being the best version of me that I can be. And this podcast is part of that. It helps me stay positive, like I've mentioned. It helps me find those nuggets of wisdom. Those, it just helps me focus on the good stuff so that I can stay positive and I can stay creative and I can stay in the right mindset. And I'm just going to leave you with that. Decide what to be and go be it, please. Thanks for listening. This has been Bird Seeds. Get to Red Rock, please. It's mandatory. Take care.